cause for alarm over May 29 inauguration, but Archbishop Onayekon says it doesn't make sense to swear in Tinubu and others whose election victory are still being challenged in courts as Gowon cancel election petitioners. Governor Umahi dumps Senate presidency ambition, backs Akpabio as Ndume and Barao also stepped down for former Akwa Ibom State Governor. And later on the show, Victor Osimhen inspires Napoli to first Serie A title win in 33 years. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otutoju and Adewale Adeoye. If you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin with the economy. The cash crunch situation in Nigeria could mean one thing: new taxes to boost revenue. As such, the federal government has approved implementation of the 2023 fiscal policy measures, which come with revised excise duty rates on alcoholic beverages, cigarettes, tobacco products, and single-use plastics. But this government will now charge 75 naira per litre of beer, stouts, or wine imported into the country. According to the circular signed by the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Ahmed, this new excise duty will be increased to 100 naira per litre in 2024. Jide, can you please make sense out of this and break this new policy down?
Well, we are looking for money and we are increasing taxes. That's basically what we are seeing, and they are targeting consumables like wine, rum, vodka, beers, and the rest of them. So what they've done is to
luxury products
increase the excise duty by 87.50%. So last year, in the revised fiscal policy that they came up with, revised excise duty rates, they added 40 naira to the excise duty on beer and stout. Okay. This year, with effect from June 1, 2023, it will now be 75 naira per litre. That's the excise duty on those alcoholic beverages, moving from 40 in 2022 to 75 naira per litre. And is this, by the same token, vodka, whiskey, brandy, and rums have similarly had the excise duty on them increased to 150 naira per litre, as against 50 naira per litre last year. So they are taxing alcoholic beverages.
Things are not so essential, but luxury products.
Yes, they are not so essential, but people also want to drink their sorrows away. If people can't...
They are talking about whiskey now.
Last week we were talking about brukutu, that people are taking to brukutu. It's because the prices of the available alcoholic beverages, beer and the rest of them, have gone up. A time will come. You see, there are implications for all that they are doing. What man wants to see is for government to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, not simply to be piling on more taxes on the ordinary people. Because for these people, even their own margins will go down. Every time you increase prices, more and more people will stay away. More and more people will buy.
Yes.
It will, in a season when people are struggling to survive, when you increase prices of goods and commodities, more and more people will not be able to afford them. And that in itself could lead to job losses and all that. Because if these people can't make the kind of money they were making before, they will have to find a way around it by reducing the workforce or even shutting down. Why did companies producing milk, why did they go for sachet? It's because it got to a point that many people couldn't buy a tin of milk. You know, when we were in school, this needle, a tin of needle was what we used to buy. Some would even buy the giant one.
Yes.
But in how many houses do you see that giant Milo tin? It's not as if they are not available. No. I still see them.
The purchase,
in the department stores. People can't afford them.
They don't have the purchasing power.
So the person who taught them that time, I think it was, what was the name of this milk company that first came up with the sachet? Cowbell. They were the ones.
Yes.
They came up with it.
There was an upset in that market that time.
So that the poor people will be able to afford it. So there are usually implications for all these actions. Some people, you will have priced this thing beyond the reach of some people. And when you do that, the companies will feel it because the sales will drop. And when sales drop, they will be looking at sending workers away and all that. So let government reflect the economy in different ways. I like what the Ghanaians did. They said, if you are bringing in products, raw materials that will boost production in their country, no duty. Just come in, bring those things in so that they can energize production and all that. But we are increasingly making life difficult for manufacturers in our country. And these taxes won't help anybody at the end of the day.
Because of our lifestyle, you know, government is telling us to tighten our belts, but I can do without taking NSC VSOP for 50,000 naira per bottle if it has gone beyond my reach, and I'll be taking my water.
Well, the taxes are sometimes necessary if a country wants to improve on revenue. However, the challenges we have been having in this country is that Nigerians are worried about tax collected. What is the use? What is the what impact would that make on Nigerians in terms of providing facilities, social facilities? The other problem is that when items are banned from being imported, most of the time they are just on paper. At the end of the day, most of these items are smuggled into the country. We all know that wine, vodka, and all that, they are all imported to Benin Republic. And a country that has about 1,000 unofficial illegal routes, how do you police those areas? So what we have found over the years is that even when you ban importation of wine, importation of vodka, those things still find their way into the Nigerian market. So it will be more smuggling activities, more funds for corrupt custom officials, who will now be able to take money from these people. It also means that in Nigeria, we want to protect local manufacturers. But at the end of the day, we discovered that over the years, the quality of Nigerian products are diminishing. Look at even compare the milk you used to take 10 years ago with what you take today. Even the people who drink beer, the quality of beer you used to take some 10, 15 years ago. And that is why it's increasingly very difficult for Nigerian produce to compete in international market. The soft drinks that we take here, can't take it to UK or you can't take it to London. And you don't blame them because they want to produce based on in a way that will be able to make profit. So if they want to meet regional standard or even global standard, nobody will buy their products. So, we don't look at the overall implication of some of these policies. And I think fundamental policies like this, few weeks before the handover, I don't understand why the government is in a hurry to come up with this kind of policy. You can make proposals to the incoming government. Because we are not careful, rolling over one policy over the other and all that. you may set, unwittingly, unintentionally, you may be setting booby traps for the incoming government. So I think we need to be very careful. Let people come in and run their own government.
What the last minute
the way they want to run their own government. So, those are the things that we need to talk into consideration when we're talking about tax increases.
Even last year too, they came up with more taxes on carbonated drinks, and all that. And there are many people who depend on these carbonated drinks. You can't say, because you want to discourage the excessive consumption of sugar, then you should now push people out of business. All the manufacturing concerns in our country, they are grappling, they are struggling. Look at what these bottlers of Coke and the rest of them have done. They came up with usually small bottles. You see malt drink, very tiny bottles and all that, because they didn't want to raise prices and push themselves unwittingly out of the market. So increasingly, it is not value for money, it is not so much value for money again for you, because they have reduced the quantity drastically, just so that people will be able to afford it. They are still big bottles, but they created those small bottles, and that is what you see an increasing number of our people buying.
What you are saying now, look at Titus. That Titus...
yes, it's saying 500, 600 for most of them.
When we were growing up, you can see the quantity of the fish inside. Go and buy the Titus, same Titus now, and just open one. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked.
Yes,
quality, everything.
Because you can't respond to every effort made by government to increase tax by also increasing the price of your products. And if you must increase, it has to be marginal. Otherwise, you'll be out of business. Many businesses are folded up in our country. They have to strike a balance, because I've seen complaints by CPPE and others in response to this latest government fiscal policies. I think we have to find a balance. Otherwise, people will lose their jobs. It will lead to job losses, and increasingly, people want to find a way around it by bringing those products into our country illegally. And don't forget, in Nigeria, we produce some of those things, so they are not all imported. We produce our own carbonated drinks, a lot of them. So you see Chi and the rest of them, they are producing these things.
Dangote,
yes, Bigot, they have many brands, So we produce our own. So they are not all imported. But if we make life too difficult for them, in no time, you see that these businesses will shut down.
Okay, let's move to politics, where the ghost of the 2023 presidential election is still lurking with us. One of such is the leaked Yes Daddy phone conversation controversy. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has admitted that the private conversation between him and the founder of the Living Faith Church Worldwide, Bishop David Oyedepo, took place. Obi, who was heard pleading with Oyedepo in the viral audio to help sway support of Christians in the Southwest and Kwara states, said he's not a religious bigot. Judy, you
remember when this matter came up? If you go back to what we said here, we said we were sure that conversation took place.
That it wasn't
for me,
arranged and concocted.
For me, as usual, some of the journalists without honor who want to defend Peter Obi at every opportunity as if Peter Obi has achieved sainthood. They were saying, it didn't take place. In fact, there was a journalist who came up with the idea that, when one way to know that this thing is fake is because it actually recorded the phone ringing along with the entire audio clip. That normally it shouldn't have, the phone ringing, the moment when the phone rang, shouldn't have been recorded with it, that no service provider does that. All kinds of lies. And when Obi came up the first time, he described it as fake and concocted. So Obi was trying to confuse everybody by saying it was fake and concocted. Now, if you are saying it was fake and at the same time manipulated, that was what he said. It was fake, then manipulated. You manipulate something that was there. You understand? And that was why Lai Mohammed asked that question that, come, which portion of it is manipulated? Is it where you said, yes, daddy, that is manipulated, or the portion where you said that, where you talked about the election being a religious war? So they told him to come clean. Did you make this conversation or not? And for weeks, Peter Obi did not respond to Lai Mohammed's challenge. The moment I saw that the fiery preacher, Bishop Oyedepo, didn't deny the thing, I knew that that conversation took place. Because
just said
Bishop Oyedepo does not suffer fools gladly.
Yeah.
When it comes to talking on the pulpit with passion, with anger, he ranks high up there. He may not be brazen in abusing people like Enenche, but in terms of expressing his views when he's hungry, he's high up there among those pastors. He doesn't mince words. He speaks his mind with sufficient anger, because anger can be manifested in many ways. Anger is not simply to abuse people and treat them like they don't exist, or that you are the God of people. No. That's how some pastors in our country want us to see them. But we will never see them as gods. Gods with a small letter G. We will never see them like that, no matter who they think they are. They can buy all the private jets in the world. They can have arenas bigger than Maracana Stadium. It doesn't matter. They are not God. They are not God.
Can't play God.
Though in this election we saw increasingly how a lot of them were playing God. Standing there on the pulpit and lying through their teeth. That, oh, this is what will happen. This is what will happen. This is what God told me. When did he tell you? When? You are lying against the Holy Ghost, as if you've not been told the implication of lying against the Holy Ghost.
And your gullible followers too.
Ayo, somebody told me that I think someone saw a vision. He saw some big pastors. He saw them in hell burning. When you treat God with ignominy, you treat God like he's your mate. You treat fellow Nigerians, fellow human beings, as if they are not worth a sweet wrap on the floor. The anger of God is there. So, going back to Obi should have come clean from the beginning. Gentlemen, I made this call. Don't try to make it look like you never made the call. Why did it take you so long to tell us that you made the call? And later on you said, oh, something was added that was not there. All the tools, all the modern tools that are currently in use, that are used to determine whether an audio clip is fake or a video clip is fake or is simply AI generated. All of those tools that they used indicated that Peter Obi made that conversation. But I'm happy for one thing. In the end, to the shame of some of his supporters who are claiming that it never happened, he has come out to say, yes, I called the bishop. The only thing he has not admitted to now is that he described it as a religious war. But you actually called him. You called him. So now, I don't know, the people who came up with this, maybe they still have more. Maybe in the coming days, they will even release some more. So that we can even know, it was Farouk Perogi that said that if people know some of the comments that people make, some phone calls that people made in their closets, they'll be dazed. So this one, for me, yes,
Shocking.
he has come out to say, but I knew all along that he made that comment.
Well, for me, I think the general principle is that for presidential aspirants, there is nothing bad in seeking the blessing of religious leaders, either herbalist or depending on your faith. I think one thing we should not forget is that while seeking that blessing, Nigeria is a secular state. It is appalling to have the impression that somebody is going to be the president of Nigeria with a mindset that he belongs to, is coming to serve the interests of a particular religion. We have Christians, we have Muslims, we have atheists, we have traditional worshippers in Nigeria. We even have animists.
Yes.
So when you make a statement calling a religious leader and describing an election that is for Christians, for Muslims, for non-believers as a religious war, it speaks a lot about the character, of the person making that kind of statement. When he first made this statement, I look at the audio, I listen to it, I look at the rhythm, the husky voice, I subject it to my own personal psychoanalysis, the sequence of words, the logic, or even Baba Oyedepo conversation, saying God bless you.
The Baba was very cautious.
Very cautious. Obi also said he went to Olofa, and Olofa said he has to meet Oyedepo. Then he said he had problem in Kogi, Kwara, and Niger State, which is true. That he wanted him to talk,
calculation of
and then Baba said, "Okay, I will talk to you later this evening."
He failed spectacularly.
If you listen to, and if you're a journalist, when you analyze it, you don't even need to submit to any scientific analysis. You will know that this thing is real. And the first tweet from Peter Obi was that denial, and I think that was not tactical enough. But Kenny Okonkwo, a journalist who worked for him, was careful. He said the video was taken out of context.
No, Nollywood guy.
A journalist. A lawyer. He said it was taken out of context. It was a bit cautious. And when I read the statement, I said, this man
they are confessing gradually.
Yes, one thing you should know is this. You are dealing with information technology. If Obi had kept on denying, using Information Act, if this is what happened in South Africa, you will approach the service providers. They will provide that script.
Yes.
And they will play it in
complete audio.
Yes. And I think they now realize that it will be embarrassing.
They will provide the transcript.
They provide the transcript.
Just like it happened during the trial of Oka.
Yeah.
They provided the transcript in court.
So the
we can subpoena the
service provider and produce it. So, and it will be more embarrassing after denial another then the court now say, look, you made this statement. So I think they are realizing that. The lawyers are telling them, look, you can't keep on denying this. Especially when you are dealing with the Nigerian state, with any state, for that matter. So I think the normal thing would have been to have admitted.
From the beginning.
From the beginning. Yeah. That is more honorable.
Yes.
And that tells you about what we are talking about politicians. Most of the things we read about
always
people,
have something to
hype and all that. It's just propaganda. They are what they are.
They are who
they are. So, the first tweet was that you denied. Then you are now saying that it is true. So
he even said it was later he said it was manipulated.
So for me,
you can only manipulate what was there.
I think Obi actually made that statement, and I think it was in bad taste.
It is, and for me, the kind of places he was going during the campaigns suggested to me that he thought he could win purely based on the Christian vote. I don't think he tried to hide the fact that he was targeting the Christian vote. The kind of places that he was going to.
Crusades.
He was going to, if he's visiting a state, for example, he will visit the part of that state that is Christian dominated. That's what he did even in Borno State. Well, when he went to Kano, you saw where he went to. So I'm making that phone call, appearing like somebody who wanted to cry and all that. Oh, please, daddy, talk to your... No. No one is saying you cannot lobby a pastor to get his people to support you.
And from
but your actions must not show that you see yourself as a Christian candidate. And when they now roundly reject you in the Muslim-dominated areas, you still come out to say you are the one who won the election. Are you kidding me? So why a minute? He roundly rejected it all because that
any state,
that body language got to them. It got to them, and they were waiting. They were waiting. They were the places he was going and the way he was behaving. They waited for him. He did not win a single state that is dominated by Muslim.
Yeah.
In Kaduna State, what aided him, his best performance in the far north was in Kaduna, 21%. And that is also based on the Christian vote in Southern Kaduna. Well, everyone knows that the Southern Kaduna, they have population. They have population. So if they vote for you in good numbers, you are going to do well. But he still didn't win. He didn't win. He just got 21%. He got 21%. Even his running mate came third in his polling unit. He came third. So it was clear. He didn't win a single state, even in the south. I've talked about Osun State having the highest percentage of Muslims in the southwest. That was won by Atiku. He didn't win any state dominated by Muslim.
That shows the pattern.
Yes, and you are saying that you are the one who won the election. How? How, for God's sake?
That claim.
How is that going to happen?
The claim is always very funny to me. It should be declared. It should be declared. And there's a runner up, and the runner up has been quiet that he should be declared. I don't understand.
Time will sort out.
Yeah, no, they'll start the fireworks tomorrow.
Time will sort that out. We are not even bothered about that. I'm extremely convinced about who won the election. Extremely convinced. And I saw the pattern of this election. Because, look, it was clear that this was the way this election went. And when someone said, oh, Jide was swearing to God, what is your business if I swear? It's between me and my God. Because I'm convinced I swore. Do people not swear when they want to inaugurate them? You win an election into the Senate. Do they not give you Quran to swear on inauguration? If Sanwo-Olu is going to do his inauguration now, on May 29, they will give him a Bible. If he's a Muslim, they will give him a Quran. Is it a new thing to swear?
I'm so sure.
When I'm so sure of something, I will swear a million times.
How do we really expect PDP, Labour Party to have? Because PDP, Labour Party, NMPP, the same party, divided into 4 factions. They give 5 there.
The logic is clear.
How do you want to, the whole of Southeast, if Obi had remained in PDP, probably would have been won by PDP.
Yes.
If he had remained less as vice president.
Of course, the political behavior in that area is clear.
So NNPP also, Kwakwaso left. Then the G5. So how?
And you still want to win the election? The thing is,
it's not possible.
The Buhari regime, in the twilight of his days, coming up with anti-people policies. Some policies that drove people to their graves. Many people thought, they will never vote for this, for the government. And I think that some of those actions even suggested that the government wanted to deliberately halt the chances of. It was what made people like Peter Obi or people like Atiku to be convinced that they don't even need to do so much work before they can win the election. Otherwise, if you didn't introduce those policies so late in the day, and the people went to conduct the election, and you campaign based on your strength, why would one bloc that broke into 4 suddenly think that it can win an election? They confront the tribunal with facts, and maybe you will win. But don't, without presenting the facts, just simply say you are the one who won the election. Oh, it's the worst election in history. How many elections have you seen that you conclude that this one is the worst in history? The whole of Kaduna, as much as El-Rufai worked for Asiwaju won only 1 local government, the whole of Kaduna State. And that's Gwari, and we know why. Because that was the place that he visited late in the night, and they were shocked. They said, no presidential candidate dared to come here. And they gave him a title. On election day, they supported him. He lost in other local governments throughout the state. Yes. Only 1 local government, Asiwaju won. And you are still saying the election was rigged. The state had an APC governor. He couldn't get his candidate to win. Not even in the governor's local government did Asiwaju win.
All right. In about a month from now, the 10th National Assembly will be inaugurated. Hence, the race to the leadership position is in full gear. One of the aspirants of the Speaker of the House of Representatives and former Deputy Speaker of Plateau State House of Assembly, Yusuf Gaji, has formally launched his entry into the race. At the unveiling of his plan in Abuja, Gaji said youthfulness, experience, and the ability to dare stand him out among other contenders. He promised to ensure that the voices of the disenfranchised are heard in the 10th Parliament if elected Speaker. Let's share the story by National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa with you.
At the last count, no fewer than 12 returning members have indicated their willingness to lead the 10th House of Representatives. They include the Deputy Speaker Hamed Wasi, House Leader Halazana Dodogua, Chairman House Committee on Appropriation Aliyu Betara, House Spokesman Benjamin Kalu, and Chairman House Committee on Persons with Disabilities Miriam Onuoha. Others are Abbas Tajuddin from Kaduna, Aminu Chaji from Zamfara, Maki Elema from Jigawa, Sada Soli from Katsina, and Yusuf Gagdi from Plateau State. Of the contenders, Yusuf Gagdi insists he stands out. Indeed, Saturday the 6th May 2023 will go down in history as the day the versatile legislator formally launched himself into the race to become the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. It was a declaration like no other, serving legislators, members-elect, party faithful, friends and well-wishers of youthful legislator Yusuf Gagdi turned out in their numbers to honor a man many describe as a goal-getter.
We need assembly that will help Nigerian people. We need assembly that will oversight the project, not assembly that will keep the members in the hotel and settle them there and come back. When Gagdi raised to speak, you will know that he has a legislative experience. Because when he emerged as a deputy speaker in Plateau State, the procedures in the National Assembly and REA is the same, only small changes.
Our organization, the Coalition of Support Group, is persuaded by the renewable action plan and policy direction of our incoming administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu that it is incumbent to ensure that inclusion and representative of youth sector as top functionary of the incoming administration. As progressive youth and intellectuals, we have unanimously adopted you, Honorable Gadi, as one that is capable, prepared, competent, and readily accessible to the youth of this country.
Here comes the man everyone has come to honor. For more than 40 minutes, Gagdi held his audience spellbound. He tells his grass-to-grace story and his determination to lift many citizens facing the bitter experiences he had as a child from the pit of discomfort.
If there is any achievement of my dint of hard work that I am proud of, is that commitment of 27 bundles of firewood and small cassava farm that saved the life of my mother. I am who I am because of my mother and my father. Got admission in ABU Zaria, but because I had no money, I decided to go to a teacher training institute, College of Education, Panjshir, an institution that today I have funded and sponsored a private members bill that transformed it to a status of Federal University of Education. It means, therefore, that there is hope for Nigeria.
Gagdi says his 4-year stint in the House of Representatives has been most eventful and his achievements are visible even for the blind to see as he presents to the public a compendium of his achievements from 2019 to 2023, with more than 20 bills to his name in the 9th House, 6 of which have been assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari. Gagdi says as a trailblazer, his goal is to achieve more. Gagdi calls on President-elect Bola Tinubu as a talent hunter to tap into his many qualities for a rancor-free executive-legislature relations.
I am confident that this our president-elect, a talent hunter, Bola Ahmed Tinubu Asiwaju, will take Nigeria to the promised land. I am optimistic that our president-elect is a talent hunter, and I declare to all Nigerians that Asiwaju will find one of the best talent in Yusuf Adamu Gagdi to partner with and take Nigeria to the promised land.
The Gagdi plan, One Nation, Forward Together, chronicles his agenda if given the opportunity to occupy the Speaker's seat. It comes with a desire to reform the House of Representatives through the legislative agenda, oversight responsibilities, and the enhancement of women, youth, and persons with disabilities in politics and governance. A compendium of his 4-year stay in the House also comes handy. It details his many developmental strides as the lawmaker representing Bangshin Kanke Kanam Federal Constituency of Plateau State. Constitution review, justice sector reforms, police reform, national security, economic growth, education, and healthcare are some of the areas Gagdi hopes to make appreciable impact if given the mandate to serve. Joketsa, TVC News, Abuja.
You know, if there's anything to watch out for, is the 10th Assembly, that's House of Representatives. But I think we have a direction for the Senate now. It might just be getting there that day, and you know, and something that has been ordained to be carried out. But the House of Representatives has been quite, trickish, knowing the number of opposition that the opposition combined opposition strength. Yes,
we have to work with them.
That the ruling party does not have majority in the House of Representatives.
But it's still the most dominant party there. But when the opposition chooses to come together, they outnumber the APC.
Yes.
And it is the first time in Nigerian history that the ruling party will not constitute the majority in the House of Reps. And they still say that election is the worst. This is the first time that it had, not since 1979 did this happen. The ruling party would have control. In fact, during the PDP years, they used to even have two-thirds.
Overwhelming.
Now,
decide everything.
Now, this is the situation. When all those parties come together, first we had more parties winning seats than at any time in our history. Now, they have won more seats than the APC. It means that you have to work with them. Gagdi, who is contesting, knows that he cannot win on the strength of APC members alone. You have to work
bipartisan.
Yes, you have to work with others. I attended this event, and honestly, I was very impressed. Gagdi appears to be the only one who is even talking, who is campaigning. When you look at the Gagdi plan, you will see clearly that this is a man who prepared for this job. Now, he said he's going to spearhead a people-oriented parliament. He said, I am one of the best talents Tinubu will find to partner with. Tinubu identifies talents. So he's saying that the team must be zoned to the North Central for equity and fairness. North Central has never produced a Speaker of the House of Reps. Northwest has produced 4 speakers between 1999 and now, starting with Salisu Buhari. We had Gali Naba, we had Masari, Minubelu Masari, and we also had the former, I'm talking about Northwest, the governor of Sokoto State, Tambuwa. Yes. That's the 4th person. North Central has not produced. And what the North Central people are saying is, look, given the way we voted for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we delivered 4 states to him. Not even Southwest delivered more states than the North Central. And in some of those elections, they won comprehensively. Look at Kwara. Look at the way the Kwara election went. They won every local government.
They
effectively shut up Saraki and his people. They shut them off effectively. Won all the local governments in both elections. So you can't say North Central is undeserving of this. You can't say they've not done well. Because somebody who wants 4 out of 6 is done well. It's done well. So they are saying, look, this is our time. And Gadi too is saying the same thing. Gadi said yesterday that illegal funding of reps committees, that it will make sure that it comes to an end as speaker. They are going for oversight. It's still the same people that they want to oversight that will be lodging them in hotels. Ayo. Has the oversight not even failed? Will you be able to write
you can't be
terrible report against me when I'm the one who lodged you in the hotel? Maybe I even gave you women.
I take honorarium.
Maybe I even use women as a sweetener.
Yes, now of course.
For you.
Part of the...
It's part of what happens. So the man is saying, no, it has to end. We have to fund oversight functions. We have to do it well because
the budget
that
of the
is
house.
where corruption. That's where how you defeat corruption. A lot of what is going on in those MDAs,
yes,
they need serious supervision. Well, it's not happening because these people will simply get compromised and nothing will happen. So he's saying, let us do our best to put an end to that. He then said, Nigeria is failing because the parliament is not discharging sincere oversight. He also said the reps under him will be the embodiment of the nation's democracy. He then said we need the House of Reps that will help the Nigerian people, that will oversight projects and not an assembly that will keep people in hotels with nothing to show for it. So that's how it went that day. And as you said, it's a very tricky race. Northwest is in the race. North Central is in the race. We have people like Tajuddin from Kaduna. We have people like our friend Adodogwa,
yes,
from Kano. Is in the race.
We
have the former
the
deputy speaker,
Idris
Wase, is also in the race. We don't know where the party will zone this thing to. Hopefully, they will decide before
it's resolved.
Because even people like Betara too, from the northeast, Betara is in the race. And Betara is Gadi's good friend. It will be interesting to see two very good friends contest against one another.
I think the House of Rep, we saw the night assembly, and we saw leadership in Femi Gbajabiamila. The responsibility and the way he was able to deliver was a face of that House of Representatives, and in terms of experience, in terms of knowledge of the House, in terms of everything, he stood miles apart from his contemporaries. I've even seen his deputy that had to anchor 1 or 2 times, and you can't compare the knowledge with Femi Gbajabiamila and everything. So in looking for another speaker now, we should be looking for a vibrant speaker, a speaker that can steer the ship of 360 members.
Yeah. I think, let me be very honest that, looking at the aspirant from Plateau State, in the first place, we need somebody who is competent, who is experienced, who is educated, and who is also liberal-minded. One thing you can give to this speaker is that, his father, who died recently, was the chief imam of Gadji Mosque. And people spoke a lot. I read what tributes people paid to his father. That his father was a bridge builder between all the ethnic groups, between all the religious groups. That in fact, he used to lead peace meetings, in Plateau State during this crisis that they used to have, ethnic and religious crisis. And so he seems to come from a very good family. And I think apart from that, he stands out, sponsoring 7 bills, 6 of which have been assented to by the president. And the fact that even in his constituency, in fact, when I read about what he had achieved, I was wondering that in my own constituency, what is happening? He built about 28 classrooms, 14 health centers, 28 roads, 2,100 units of solar street light, 264 hand-pump motorized boreholes, 6 town halls, 24 palaces he rebuilt, skill acquisition center, 1,618 motorcycles. You know, so yes. I was wondering, you know, 80 tricycle, 118 cars and healers for police. And, you know, I think this is a very striking personality. And it's just about, he was born in 1980. So he has age on his side. And if you look at some of those bills that he initiated, you know, one led to the creation of Security Trust Fund for the Navy, yes. which is a very significant development. And one also led to the creation of 2 universities across the country. You know, he was chairman of House Committee on Navy and Air Force. So I think within the short, and it's the first time in the Police House with this kind of achievement. So I think that I think it's star-studded figure. And I wish that other people that want to contest, we also have this kind of credential. But I think looking at his credential, I think he stands out. I have not looked at the other aspirant, but I think he is qualified. You know, if not more than qualified to
I have
the house. Yeah.
I have a call on the line. Thank you for waiting for us.
How are you? Good day.
Yes, good afternoon.
Babajide, how are you?
Oh, now far now.
Yeah, the topics are very fine. The topics today are very interesting. I would rather start briefly from the issues from the beginning. The federal government winding down in a couple of less than 3 weeks, pushing policies and taxes to make life more difficult for the incoming government is very funny. You begin to look at the issue of subsidy that today up to now have not been concluded. That bulk has simply been pushed to the next administration. My only joy is that Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a seasoned politician. Take a look at who has been in the trenches for over 60 years. He has the capacity to be able to deliver. He has done a lot. Look at those obnoxious policies and programs that this present government reeled out in the eve of the election, setting the ground for failure of the party. But the party has triumphed and won. We are moving towards the swearing in. Let us move to the speakership issue. The current leadership of the National Assembly is a configuration of different political parties. That goes to tell you the transparency in this election. This was an election where serving senators, governors, lost their senatorial election. It was an election where an other rider, knowing nobody with his no money, was able to win the House of Reps election. So the contest to the speakership has to be done based on principle and capacity and number of votes pulled in. The North Central has done significantly well. Winning 4 states out of 6 have set them on a good trajectory. You begin to look at the fact that, like Babajide said, they have never produced a speaker before. We should begin to look at inclusiveness, collectiveness, and how to carry everybody along in this Nigerian project. Because the Nigerian project is a Tata state. I'm talking about a nation where over 133 million Nigerians are living multi-dimensional poverty. I'm talking about a nation where people spend billions of dollars, electricity is still in comatose. I'm talking about a nation where over 20 million children are out of school. I'm talking about a nation that has been battling with insecurity internally for the last 12 years.
Easy, you want to give us statistics.
So why? We need a leader and a president that has conscience, that has heart, to be able to put everybody together. And he has to work with the good National Assembly leadership that has the courage.
All right. So, these are ahead.
It's loaded.
Let's see what the party will be saying.
Yes. I know that
if they have to work in a line.
Week, people like Betara too will officially join the race. We see a lot of activities
from the House of Reps,
with more and more of them coming out to talk about their plans and all that. So I'm happy that this race is different to previous races. You know, now you know that you have to work hard to become speaker. And this man has started, you know, he has shown that he's serious.
All right. In fact, lobbying and ability to curry allies is the holy grail. Ahead of the November governorship election in Kogi State, Governor Yahaya Bello has begun to market his preferred successor. Governor Bello took the All Progressive Congress APC governorship candidate Usman Ododo to President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. President Buhari gave his blessings to the APC flag bearer, Governor Bello, who also took Ododo to see the president-elect Bola Tinubu express delight in the capacity of the APC candidates to deliver more wins for the party in the states. Let's hear from Governor Bello and Ododo.
Yes. We don't need to hear from you. once you just look at us, we know what to do. Thank you so much.
Very big, good, and active. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
For you guys, you want to take photo?
Yes, please. Let's.
So, Kogi State, November, Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo States, they'll be choosing their governor. So, Kogi State ahead now, and while the People's Democratic Party has opted for Senator Dino Melaye, the incumbent party, that's the APC, they've gone for their Usman Ododo. And this Usman Ododo, before the election, I didn't look at his way at all because I didn't even hear of that name. Somebody like me, I was thinking that the likes of Edward Onoja, the deputy governor, the chief of staff, those are the areas I was looking at. I did not actually look at this Ododo guy. I didn't know. I didn't see him coming at all.
No, you know, whoever said he saw it coming is a liar. There are other people that most of us thought would get it, but the truth is, Yabelo as governor is the only one who can explain what he saw in Ododo. I know Ododo, I've interacted with him. He's a gentleman, perfect gentleman. You know, the kind of people that we look at them and say they are too good for politics. But he knows now that having become the candidate of the party, that he has to take the task seriously because Kogi, Bello, Dino has emerged.
PDP.
And the last thing that this governor will want to see is for Bello for Dino to become the governor. If Dino becomes governor, Bello may not be able to come to that state again. You know, so Yabelo
everything he stood for.
Not just that, you know, they had a very acrimonious relationship. You know, the relationship got personal. And when you have that kind of background, going into a contest like this, you want to make sure that that person does not win because you are not sure that he will not victimize you if he wins the election. So, interestingly, Kogi is sitting on a tripod. But at the end of the day, all of these dominant ethnic groups will split each other's votes. That is what will happen. From what I'm hearing from our people, they are going to split each other's votes. The two dominant candidates could come out of Okunland, for example. In Kogi East, is the same thing.
Galaland.
Yes, it's the same thing. Votes will be split. It is the candidate who is able to grab from this zone, grab from that zone, that is likely to win, and the candidate with superior war chest. Because our elections have become too
monetized.
Yes, monetized to the point that it's the highest bidder that usually triumph. So what Bello usually does, when you said you are not looking in this direction, Bello would have made a move when you think he's still planning. And by the time you respond, it's probably too late. So this is what he has done in this case. And I know that, yes, a lot of our people are not happy with who he has chosen at all. But you are the one, it's just like when Asiwaju picked Fashola. There was a lot of pressure on him. Why did you choose this person? He's not a politician. They didn't even like him.
Yes.
They didn't like him because opposition felt he was always blocking access to Asiwaju. They thought that Asiwaju would pick one of the career politicians.
Yes. The Jimmy Badges of this one.
Yes, but he was the one who
Pedro.
he saw what the rest of us didn't see, and he decided to choose him.
Fashola.
Fashola. And Fashola justified that the choice. So
did very well.
Now, what in the fullness of time, we will know whether the governor took the right decision in picking this person. We will know in the fullness of time.
And even Wale, the smart Adeyemi, what he's saying is that election did not take place. But smart Adeyemi, I've seen his video as he was lying down, kneeling for the governor, and there's a particular video that said if Yaya Bello decide to choose any successor,
even his enemy, he said if he chooses his enemy, he will still support him.
To support. And a journalist like us, months down the line, the center cannot hold again. Smart Adeyemi is now saying that no election was held at all.
But you said whoever he chose, even if he chose your enemy, you support him. So what has changed?
It's all over the internet.
You see, in this world, one has to be careful what comes out of his mouth. He was saying that when he was enjoying
that is a beneficiary of
Of course, that's true. He came out of political debt, literally. This man brought him out.
He would have won Dino in the last election.
No way.
You see, people need to be very careful about what they say, especially when you cannot predict the person you are dealing with, you know. But I think there is a lot of bad blood in Kogi State for so many reasons. Like Babajide mentioned the case of Fashola, yes. But in the case of Kogi, it's not a homogeneous state.
No.
To a large extent, like Lagos is. You have it's a multi-ethnic state, and there is a particular section that feels continuously marginalized since 1992, when Kogi has been producing democratically elected government. The Igala, for instance, have produced, I think, for about 18 years, since the time of Audu. You know, the first 4 years then, since 1996, you know, and we had Audu and then Idris. So, and then it was a good thing that there was a power shift to our Ibra brothers, you know. But now, after 8 years, you are in a position to balance the equation, perhaps to give the impression to the people of Kogi that you belong to everyone. What people are saying is that you decided to take back that power back to your own area. So I think that is going to
do their own things.
Yeah. So it's for another, So I think that is causing a lot. Imagining and also realizing the fact that you came into power by default. It was just by luck. If not, and when you came here, eventually there was disagreement when people supported you. So people are thinking after 8 years. Look at the Okun people. They are one of the most urbanized cities. When we are talking about human capacity, I know some communities in Okun that you can talk of 40 professors. Human capacity, and what do you want to say that this we don't have? Even at the time, Kogi State produced the governor of Western Region, Jemi Benwon. So, but consistently they are being denied. Nobody seems to reckon with them. So I think that bitterness is there. And how to handle this issue will determine to a large extent what will be the outcome of the next election. It's not just, thinking because I pick a candidate and then it's APC, then people just go and vote. There are very important critical issues people are raising. And if you don't address them, I think there is going to be a lot of problems for APC in the next election.
Okay, we quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out.
Joint Talks 10th Assembly invites all members-elect of the 10th House of Representatives to a general meeting to be held as follows. Date, Monday, May 8, 2023. Venue, Borno Rivers Hall, Transcorp Hilton, Abuja. Time, 7 p.m. prompt. We implore you to attend as important issues concerning all members-elect will be discussed. Announcer, Right Honorable Usman Bello Kumo, APC Gombe, Chairman, Joint Talks 10th Assembly. Right Honorable Kinsley Chinda, PDP Rivers, Co-Chairman, Joint Talks 10th Assembly. Right Honorable Aliu Sani Madaki, NNPP Kano, Secretary, Joint Talks 10th Assembly.
Thank you for staying with us. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday, and I still have Babajide Kolade Tutoju and Wale Adeoye in the studio. And on the final note on Kogi politics, at the end of the day, it's going to be a big battle between the People's Democratic Party and the ability of Yaya Bello to be able to put his house together, the All Progressive Congress, if all the tendencies within APC, if they work together.
You see, for example, I never knew that Falike will work for Yaya Bello for his re-election. I didn't see it coming. But it not only worked for him, it delivered our area for Yaya Bello with audacious margin. Because Asiwaju told him, the party supreme, go and work. So sometimes people will put these sentiments aside and support their party. I've seen, even from my hometown, I've seen some people are saying, look, this is the candidate of our party. So Yaya Bello knows he has a lot of work on his hands. But as I said earlier, the state is divided. And the votes would have to be split. The way it is now, the Ibiras may actually come away with only one dominant candidate. Are we sure? Challenge. Yes. Are we sure that will happen from Okun? If you ask me, I will say no.
They already have two outstanding candidates.
So nobody knows what will happen. It's a long time between now and November, and a lot of things could change. So we'll just be watching them. See.
Kogi State will be on our radar till November, when we see the end of the succession race and see who will ultimately succeed Governor Yaya Bello, the White Lion. It is said that you cannot continue to do the same thing every time and expect different results. Nigeria's oil-rich region is set to witness a new phase of massive development due to new thinking by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. One of such is the linking of 9 Niger Delta states by rail. At the first Public-Private Partnership Summit in Lagos, the NDDC sought the support of private investors to actualize the new vision for the region. Let's hear the story by TVC News' Sarah Ayuko.
This is a historical moment for the Niger Delta region, as the Niger Delta Development Commission plays host to key players, policymakers, investors, and development partners. They are here to deliberate on strategies that can drive sustainable development in Ondo, Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, Imo, Abia, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River states.
Witnessing an enthusiastic response by stakeholders and development partners to an invitation to dialogue on the development of the Niger Delta, because there's trust in public institutions that are run according to law and due process. Public-private partnership would not be realistic in a government institution that is burdened with trust deficits.
This board and management is charting a new course, and it's impressive to everybody. And that's why you are seeing the response from the private sector. You can see MDs of banks and our colleagues in the private sector.
I feel very proud that the summit is taking place, especially in consideration of the theme tagged to rewind to rebirth. For every speaker to stand here and accuse the board, but distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are all culprits. Whether it's the National Assembly, whether it's the people in NDDC, we are all part of the problem. We cannot point fingers. I implore the board and the management of the commission to do all within their power to project the commission in the best light.
Welcoming the distinguished guests to the summit, the Managing Director of the Commission takes time to explain why the summit is holding in Lagos, the Center of Excellence.
To carry out such a project such as PPP, we believe Lagos is the ideal place because the market is here in Lagos, the raw material is here in Lagos, the competitors are here in Lagos, and the labor is here in Lagos. Since we need your capital, we have to come to you. Looking forward to partners with both local and foreign investors, captains of industries, and the corporate world in building a better future for the region.
From representatives of the National Assembly to state governments and private investors, the current board of the NDDC has been promised full support, with stakeholders hoping to usher in a new dawn for the Niger Delta.
To you to find the courage to say no where you need to say so. The National Assembly should do more than oversighting in the manner that it has been. For example, I ought to be careful because I'm still, I ought to be careful. I can't understand, for example, why the National Assembly will scrutinize a board, approve it, and a minister come and set it aside and replace it with one that didn't go through the floor of the National Assembly. Why do we maintain parliament? I hope I'm not already causing trouble even before I get to Abuja.
In the coming weeks, NDDC says it will be commissioning major projects. Among them is the 132-33 kV substation constructed by the Commission in Ekiti, which will provide electricity for over 2,000 communities spread across 5 local government areas of Ondo State.
I believe that in the next few years, the Niger Delta will be different, because it pains me greatly that we've expended so much money and so much time, 20 years plus, and there's no proper impact. So let's hope that the next few years will be impactful, and then others will follow the same path.
The stakeholders, especially the youth leaders who are the front agitators for the development of the region via the NDDC, I assure you for free that it is a cause for celebration, knowing that this PPP has one critical benefit, which is development, rapid development, and transparency.
What we do as the youth leaders, we try as much as possible to make sure that there's security in the region, because if there's no security, the foreign partners that are coming to partner the NDDC, they will not be able to succeed.
The NDDC this time around have gotten it right. It's a step in the right direction. With the ethnic youth, the FIC youth, and all the youth organizations are so much in support of this. With proper monitoring, evaluation, and proper inclusiveness of the people and stakeholders, it will go a long way.
As a sign of new deals to come, the NDDC signed a memorandum of understanding with Atlanta Global. This deal will build a rail line across the Niger Delta region.
All right. Do you know what NDDC pulling out here? And private investors to assure the new vision for that region. So 7, how many? 9 Niger Delta states with linked by rail.
What gladdens my heart is the fact that it appears that under this new management of NDDC, they are actually thinking of doing something that makes sense, because over the years, when you talk about the NDDC, what comes to your mind is corruption, looting, wasting of public funds,
back to back, successive
stealing of money through desilting. They always say they are desilting their drains, they are desilting their rivers and all that. Yet the whole area still gets flooded in the course of the year. So if they can move away from this barefaced looting through desilting, and they are saying they want to come up with a project, a rail project linking all the 9 states of the Niger Delta together. It's a fantastic project. And we've seen now they've signed an MOU with a US-based company. It means that they are serious. So they want the private sector to get involved with them in developing the Niger Delta area. The potential is tremendous. Because everyone is going to Lagos, but we can actually make Niger Delta the beautiful bride.
Yes, other states, those states under the Niger Delta.
Yeah, they can
should
develop
shift
those
attention
areas
from Lagos.
Yes.
And help the federal government.
Look at those communities. Look at those oil-bearing communities, Focados, all of them. You can develop those places, make them beautiful, make them look like little Dubais of their own. You know, so I'm really impressed with this decision to come up with a project that is sustainable and enduring, and it will definitely put the NDDC on the fast lane of development if they match words with action.
Well, I think it's a very laudable project, and because since 2000 that the NDDC was created, we are talking about 23 years now. We are looking for a milestone, something you can refer to, you know, in spite of all the funds that the NDDC receives every year. In 2022 alone, NDDC got Naira 28.2 billion. In 2023, 876 billion. And just like Babangida has said, we are used to stories of corruption, and we should not forget that in 2019, President Buhari's government set up an auditing, forensic auditing of NDDC from from 2021 to 2019, and they discovered that about some 6 trillion, naira, were misappropriated. So, we hope that this will not be another white elephant project. There are also some 13,000 projects abandoned by Bayelsa State alone, about 1,700, about 1,300. That even the governor had to take over some of the projects. So
they have a debt of more than 3 trillion.
All sorts of projects. I know about the end of the day, those things only exist, on the pages of newspaper. Because if the NDDC can be effective, all this agitation, justifiable agitations and protests from Niger Delta will be minimized. But I also think one of the major things the Niger Delta needs to address is flooding. Because if you don't address the rising water level in Niger Delta, whatever major projects you have will be affected, on the long run. So I think it's a very good project. But we hope that there'll be a lot of transparency, there'll be a lot of inclusion, discussion with local communities. So at the end of the day, it's something that we're going to be proud of.
All right. The fight against terrorism and banditry across Nigeria rages on. Troops raided Janjala community in Kagago local government area of Kaduna State and arrested a traditional ruler, the Madaki of Janjala, Malam Ibrahim Aliyu, and 13 suspected informants. The village chief was arrested by troops and moved to Kaduna over alleged leaking of information to bandits, leading to cases of abduction in the community. Jide, this is not new. Leaking information to terrorists, and we know most of these areas that bandits operate, they work hand in hand with some traditional authority.
Yes, I've seen even there was a traditional ruler that was lynched in I think Ekiti State on the road. They accosted him on the road and they killed him. We've seen some governors
was killed.
Yes, suspend traditional rulers and all that. District heads suspended for working with bandits. Some of them are very close friends to these bandits. When you provide information for bandits, you make it easy for them to know when military operation is going to happen against them. And the military always says that it needs to work together with community leaders.
Honestly,
if we are the ones providing information for bandits,
information,
how can they achieve their aims? So I hope that taking him to Kaduna, they will be able to get a lot more facts about how he's been supporting bandits who are killing our people in those areas. So it's a good development, and they need to do more of this. In fact, if you Google bandit informant, you see that there are so many cases, so many similar cases in order, but it's like these people cannot operate without some level of information provided by these local people. So amongst the local people, they have their informants, those ones who stand by the roadside and be calling them, giving them information about some vehicles passing and people inside those vehicles. You know, when people come down sometimes to say they want to buy something by the roadside, they don't know who is watching them. You go to the next village, you'll be attacked.
Why will a traditional ruler that is meant to be after the well-being, the peace of his community, why will he turn to somebody that will be informing, turn to an informant that will be raiding his people and causing mayhem in his community?
I think, two reasons may be involved. First is probably for material gains, and the second one will be for protection, of his from attack from those those bandits. Well, no matter what is the case, there is no justification for traditional rulers to provide information for enemies of the people. And I think that is why it's important for governors who want to install traditional rulers. They need to do a lot of security check. You need to know the person you want to install, either as MI or district head, or whether as an Oba or Igwe. We need to do a lot of, not just because the person he has money or is a member of your political party. You can mobilize from you, then it's from a royal home. Then you just put him as the... I think it's high time that governors, not just in those states alone, they should do a lot of security checks. So at the end of the day, you don't put people that are anti-culture to come and protect the culture and values of the people. It's a very bad thing. And it's not just in that area, it's all over the country, where you see traditional rulers, working cautiously against the heritage and culture and civilizations of the people they are expected to protect. So government needs to be more careful to ensure that before you can become Oba or Igwe or MI, they must have done thorough screening involving security officials, so at the end of the day, they don't put the wrong person, in that very important position.
Do you see the change of the new administration? The new administration will be coming in at the end of this month. Do you think that will in any way affect the modus operandi of these bandits?
At least not immediately. You see, before you need time to properly hone your strategies against these people. And you need time to find the strategy that will work. It takes time. For now, the people who are there are using the same tactics, and to a large extent, those tactics are not working. So we will need to be patient with the incoming administration, the new set of service chiefs, to see how far they can go with defeating banditry in our country. We really have to be patient.
All right. Moving on now. It's about 22 days to the May 29 inauguration day in Nigeria, and all eyes are already on the new government. To douse any tension about anything contrary, the military high command has assured citizens that security forces are fully prepared to make the exercise free. In a statement, the Director of Defense and Media Operations, Major General Musa Damadame, said the military has warned against plans to sabotage the handing over of power to the President-elect Bola Tinubu on May 29. But the Archbishop of the Abuja Catholic Archdiocese, Cardinal John Onayekon, said it makes no sense to swear in the President-elect before conclusion of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunals. Meanwhile, the former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, has advised candidates challenging the outcome of the last election to accept the court's verdict as hearing commenced on Monday. This is a loaded story, Judy. Let's first of all, let's start with the military trying to protect the sanctity of this May 29 inauguration. This is not just happening. Since 1999, we've had election, we've had a president-elect, and we've had even, well, you know, winners, people that aggrieved, been to courts and handing over and what will I call it? The May 29 handing over dates. Somebody was still handed over power, and the tribunal will continue the sitting after the handing over dates. What is this new concern?
Oh, this whole thing is instigated by the fact that they don't like the person who won the election. Because Baba Onayekon cannot claim that he does not know that there is a law that says the appeal court shall sit for 180 days.
Yes.
After that, a further 2 months for the Supreme Court to decide. This is the law. I think it's section 235 or so of the Constitution.
It has always been like that since 1999.
The law is there. I want to be sure what section. Section 285 of the Constitution says election petition shall be determined within a period of 180 days. They know. But because they don't like the person who won the election, this is why these Christian clerics
that we should change the goalpost in the middle of the match.
Obasanjo was president for 2 terms.
Yes.
There was no time on record that Baba Onayekon said, no, you cannot take power.
They went to court.
They have case against you. There was no time. The case, Buhari's case against Obasanjo lasted up to 2006.
Yes, at that time, no time bound. Yes, no time bound.
I was in Supreme Court on the day that matter was finally decided. It is not on record that Baba Onayekon said anything at that time. A lot of the Christian clerics now who are making all this noise, who are trying to be more Catholic than the Pope, who are trying to make it seem like they like Nigeria more than the rest of us, or that they like justice and fairness more than the rest of us, they were quiet all these years. And they cannot say that they are not aware that they have even reduced the time frame, the time ceiling.
Yes.
So we are getting nearer there. I am for, if it is possible, I'm for a resolution of this matter, even before the election. But the way they are going about it, you will even think that they are sure that they will win in the tribunal. Where is the confidence from? Why are you insisting that it has to be decided? Look at America. America, they were doing a recount in Florida. What their law says is, once it gets to so day of the year, the president has to emerge no matter what. Courts ordered manual recount. They were on that manual recount when that time ceiling ended. They had to give it to George Walker Bush. It is the law, and they accepted it. But here in Nigeria, you see, lawyers who went to school, telling us that you have to win 25% in Abuja. Senior lawyers that over the year, we were in school, when we were reading about them, that we have so much respect for them. Exposing themselves thoroughly in a manner that suggests that they are bigoted. So what you are saying now is that if a Buhari man from Abuja, from Federal Capital Territory, enters the race and he manages to dominate the election the way it will be dominated the Southeast, where we were seeing 95% for him and all that, the others will not be able to get 25%. Nobody will get 25% though, except that Buhari man, native from FCT. So if he now gets 25% of Abuja, you see the illogicality of their reasoning. So does it then mean that the person who won Abuja will then become the president
because he won
of the country because he won Abuja? He may not even win any other place because it's possible. Oh, he's from that place, and
they're
voted for him.
They are bringing this thing out now, because this is not the first time, somebody will be losing that FCT.
Without winning the FCT.
Without winning the FCT. I'll be sworn in. Now, bringing everything out, just...
You now look, so I was reading Ahamba, Buhari's lawyer for many years.
Many years.
Ahamba said...
Mike Ahamba
said... No vote is superior to the other. The vote from Lagos is not superior to the vote from Ibadan. The vote from Abuja is not superior to votes from any other part of the country. He now argued that, look, in 2003, Buhari versus Obasanjo, I argued that, why do you want to swear somebody in when you still have cases against? He said Justice Belgore was the one who read the judgment. And Justice Belgore said all of those elective positions, whoever wins will be sworn in. The case will go on. When that person is discovered to not have merited his victory, to send them packing.
Certificate of return will be withdrawn.
It's difficult for them to live with the reality that Tinubu won the election.
That they will be sworn in on that inauguration day.
Because it runs contrary to the lies that we have been fed, the diet of lies that we have been fed from a lot of pulpits. That, he will not get there. He will die before he gets there. Some of them...
he will be arrested on the day of inauguration.
It's a bit, that one, we are even waiting. We are waiting. So they told us that somebody whose name appeared in the Bible will win the election. Now the election has gone completely against what they were telling their listeners, their flock. Now, because of that, they are now demonstrating anger in any way that they can do it. Because this one, Onayekon knows what the law says. He's one of the most brilliant Nigerians ever. Because Onayekon, even the late Sardauna identified Onayekon for his brilliance. He's one of the most brilliant Nigerians ever. I'm saying this because I know. He knows that there is a law, Section 285. What do you want the judges to do? The judges to brush aside the law? If you think, look at our country now, more than 170-something thousand polling units. You need evidence from those polling units. You want to show that you won. You need evidence. Is it possible for judges to just run through evidence in 14 days? Where in the world? No, okay, look at even Kweremadu's matter.
Yes.
Was it only for 14 days? And they had all the evidence. They had all the evidence. Did it last just 14 days? So some of the senior lawyers who are saying, look, this thing can happen within the 20 days, this absolute rubbish. How is it going to happen? You have to photocopy in some cases.
They've been on pre-trial.
I was looking at Falike versus Yabelo and INEC. If you see photocopies, because they sent everything to me, high like this. And judges have to peruse all those things, and you are saying that it will be decided in 14 days. Go and decide it in 14 days now. Let us see.
Wale, I don't understand this fixation about Tinubu not being sworn in, and it's just like a bitter pill. The amount of some Nigerians that but the truth is that since 1999 this has been a practice, and there's nothing. Some people are calling on the Chief Justice of the Federation not to administer the oath of office for the new president on the 29th.
I've never seen this kind of hatred, in the history of presidential elections that I've witnessed. Hatred just informed by what the Yoruba people call a lara, just based out of jealousy and hate. Something like this. It's not even founded on any substantial logic. You just think, I hate this person and I don't want him to be the president of the country. But in democracy, we should not substitute our own personal consciousness for the consciousness of the masses. The people have gone to vote. I may not like the person that they have voted for. But for Christ's sake, over 20 million people participated in this election. The participation will have been higher, but because of these all sorts of policies, Naira swap and all sorts of things, that kept people away from the polling booths, So at the end of the day, I think no matter your position, whether you are the president of Nigeria or the leader of Catholics in Nigeria, you must respect the Constitution. Your words cannot substitute for the Constitution of the country. Even if it is the president of Nigeria that is saying this, that they should conclude the election, it will be totally wrong. You don't have any political power. You don't have any legal power to make such a statement. We have a lot of respect for the bishop, but I think we need to be very careful so that we don't send wrong signals to the people that we lead. If your intention is to have, whoever, but at the end of the day, people have voted against that person, I think the normal thing is to accept the decision of the people and then let us see how it's going to turn out.
On the final note on this one, if you look at the body language of the incumbent president, Muhammadu Buhari, I don't think anybody can tell him to wait 1 day after May 29.
I think they are deluding themselves that if the president can allow the painting of the Naira, which suffered Nigerians so much, that is probably on their side. The president would want his party to be disgraced. His president, I don't know how they
think.
Yes,
Everything
I don't know how. About Onayekon, let me give him all his respect, said something after that election. It was described that the election was tragically manipulated. And I'm like, you are an old man. You are trying to give the feeling that this is the worst election ever. But you've seen worse elections. God knows that you've seen worse elections.
What is who?
Come on. He said it was the tragically manipulated. I said, why now? Why? You've seen worse elections in this country.
Even when they talk about
without technology, without
they only single out the presidential election. They don't talk about the governorship election.
And what
so
happened in governorship election is worse. You are very right. It is governorship election that they are talking about the most. What happened in the governorship election, you can't compare the kind of spread of the voting.
Vote buying, suppression, everything.
Governors came out with money to install their people. So the kind of spread.
Change the tide.
Okay, Peter Obi won so many states during the
presidential election.
How many did he win in the governorship? How many? They didn't allow him now.
At all.
They didn't afford him
change the narrative.
He only won one state. So even APC has more states in the southeast than Peter Obi's Labour. That's what it means now.
Irony.
Yes. But they don't talk. It's only that one alone. So you will know that it is that person that they hate. Onayekon may have said others. He added others. We know that his target is that person.
So
I don't know how long we want
in the next 22 days, I'm sure the inauguration will take place and Nigerians will see. Now, the race for the Senate presidency of the 10th National Assembly is witnessing alignments and realignments. The senator-elect for the Ebonyi South Senatorial District, Dave Umahi, has dropped his bid. Umahi has instead endorsed former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, who is also former governor of Akwa Ibom, Godwin Akpabio. Umahi, the outgoing governor of Ebonyi State, also disclosed that he is not considering the position of the Deputy Senate President. The senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, has also stepped down, saying Akpabio is the preferred choice. Wale? Well, Senate, the ruling party, they're taking like a position already without even the zoning coming out officially.
Let me say that personally I'm impressed by the meticulous manner they are pushing the process. You remember what happened in 2015, all sort of civilian coups and all that. And I like one thing that the president did when David Umahi met him. He did not deceive him. Some politicians would have just said, go and campaign, go to the field, tell about 10 people. At the end of the day, he knows what he plans to do.
Doesn't support him.
He was honest to tell him that, look, according to his own report, that he should, not go ahead. I think that is fair enough. Politics is about constructive engagement, consultation. And I think the way things are going now, just watch it. You are going to have less acrimony, in the way the Senate president will emerge.
Okay. We quickly have Awal Hassan on the line. Awal.
Thank you, Ayo. Good afternoon, Ayo.
Thank you for joining us, Awal.
I tried to get through for to comment on the last topic. Can I just say one or two things?
Quickly, Awal.
Thank you, Ayo. Ayo, you see, I really don't know what people mean by saying we rigged election. So, but if APC could lose an election in Kaduna, where we could use to have rigged the election, where is anybody saying? Why is anybody saying? Where did we even rig? We lost Kano, we lost Katsina, we lost Lagos. These were states that we could manipulate because it's our state. The governors there are APC. Our presidential candidate is from Lagos. The sitting president is from Katsina. We lost both states to Atiku. So where else did we go and rig? You see, there is something I want to tell these people. We are in the majority. The people that voted for Ashwaju supporters are in the majority. And I keep on saying this. Let them bring it on. They think if they don't sway Ashwaju, and we will keep quiet and be dumb. We are more than them in whatever it is they think they have. Let them bring it on. We're just quiet because we have won elections and we want a government of unity and peace. That's why we're keeping quiet. But anybody that is willing or trying to topple with this process, let them come in now. Let them come in. We're more than them. We can give them a run for their hands. What is it that we cannot do? We're just quiet, listening to people saying all sorts of rubbish. Some have even said they'll have lost confidence in the judiciary, and they are still coming to tell the judiciary to work it out within 2 weeks and not swear in an illegal elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Who does that? So who is undermining the institution? Is it us that has peacefully won the election and wanted to be sworn in, or those ones that are trying to topple the people's choice? We voted for Ashwaju. We are in the majority. Whatever it is anyone thinks, let them bring it on. We are ready.
Thank you, Allah. Thank you, Allah. So, back to where we stop now. We're talking about the Senate presidency, and the president-elect was so categorical, reporting from what David Mai said.
I think there has been a lot of horse trading, and I like the way they are going about it. They want a situation where there will be consensus. And I think that is the best way we can have a harmonious relationship between, the executive and the legislative, which is very crucial to having a stable polity. And I also think Akpabio is going to be a second timer. He was in the Senate before. He was also former governor. David Umahi is going there for the first time. So I think if you look at that, talking about networking in the Senate, talking about his experience in the Senate, I think those are things that should be taken into consideration. It's not as if David Umahi is not qualified. And I also think admitting to step down, I think it's a very good thing, that he did.
Earlier today, I saw that soundbite. David Umahi and Ali Ndume said they were called by Mr. President, the President-elect, and he told them, so, this is my position, that please go and work for this person. And, we are having like a different kind of politics from what we've been seeing before.
But you see, what we've always wanted, Buhari did it in 2019. He made it clear to them who he wanted. What he didn't do in 2015, he did in 2015.
In 2019?
2019. Okay. Yes, he was the one who told them he wanted Omar Gege as Deputy Senate President. Omar Gege was Buhari's choice.
Personal choice?
Yes. And that angered a few people, but they still allowed the president's wish to prevail. I don't want to go into that. The JD has come again. Now, at this point, there is no consensus. The party leadership and the president-elect have to keep working with the lawmakers, because at the end of the day, they should have the final say on their leaders. Yeah. You are not going to impose a leader on them. You just need to reach out to them to say, look, these are our reasons for wanting this thing to go this way, this and that. Because if you give them a leader that they can't work with, for example, it will bring crisis. And if you have a rancorous National Assembly, even you will not enjoy your work, because it will affect the pace of work in the administration. So they need to continue to reach out to these people, so that at the end of the day, the party, the president-elect, and the APC caucus in the National Assembly will be on the same page. We've seen now some who are saying no, that they are going to contest.
No, but for Aliu Dume, somebody like Aliu Dume, independent-minded person,
yes,
for him to even concede, he came out to say,
and that's why I'm saying that you come out to keep talking to them. You know, these are not people that, okay, once your view contradicts their own, they start abusing you. This is politics. It's horse trading that we are talking about here. Tell them why you think this person is the best person. Convince them. If you are able to convince them, they are going to do your bidding. The president-elect cannot afford to start on a wrong footing. You can see people like MOB will certainly be one of the principal officers in this 10th Senate.
Yes.
One of the top positions will definitely go to him. He's qualified and he's been working towards that.
This will be his third time in the Senate.
Yes.
And he has been
so in the running for majority leader.
Yes, one time House of Representatives from
he has the processes.
Yes, he understands, and he's a lawyer.
He understands. Yes, a lawyer. So he understands how things run. So they need to keep talking to them. People like Yari, for example, have said, no.
You still want to go the whole of
Zamfara, why do you want, for example, to this thing to go to Kano when in Kano you didn't win? You won in Zamfara. You won in Jigawa. Everyone has his own argument. When you look at the votes from Kano, the votes from Kano even doubles the votes of some states that that APC won. APC didn't win Kano, but he got more votes there than even some states that he won.
Yes.
So everyone has his own argument, everyone has his own stake. Just as we were talking about some reps that North Central had never produced. They have the right to say, okay, give us this thing. So they have to keep talking, so that people like Yari and the rest of them, the senator from Niger, Sani Musa, and the rest of them, you can bring them together and say, this is why we want this person. Even the the current Senate president, who appears not to be interested in working for Akpabio, they still need to continue to engage those people. So at the end of the day, you have a decision that everyone subscribes to.
Do you envisage a situation whereby somebody is aggrieved and still goes ahead within the ruling party and to form alliance with the opposition party?
That is possible. In fact, when anyone says, I don't care about what Tinubu wants, I am contesting, that person has made up his mind to contest. And he probably has his reason. Maybe he has some people who have promised him votes somewhere. But this kind of election, sometimes you think you are going to win by a landslide. You'll be shocked the way you'll be defeated. So they just have to keep talking. And at the end of the day, the matter will be resolved. I think the party even wants to see consensus at the end of the day, so that they don't go into a race that will give advantage to the other parties. So they are looking for consensus. The contest can go either way in both houses if they don't handle things very well.
All right, and finally on the show today, when the story of how Napoli finally ended their 33-year wait to win Italy's Serie A is written, the name of the gangling Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen will be prominent after a 1-1 draw at Udinese. Napoli secured their third league title with a record equaling 5 games to play. Osimhen scored the decisive goal in the second half as Napoli's current stars emulate the team led by Diego Maradona, which won the league in 1987 and 1990. Let's share the highlights with you. Nigeria Victor Osimhen, a pride to our country after 33 years, Napoli.
Yeah, he has given himself immortality. Maradona and Careca the stars of the Napoli team of the late 80s. You know, if Maradona will score, Careca will score, the Brazilian striker. So Maradona did the unthinkable. He won the title. You know, it's a very remarkable feat.
Well, this was a boy that used to sell pure water in traffic in Lagos.
Yes.
And you can see how, you know.
It just shows clearly that if perhaps he had not traveled to Europe, his talents might have ended up in the cemetery of dreams in Nigeria here. You know, he has been spectacular right from the time he was playing in Germany, Belgium, France, you know. And
outstanding.
In 2021, I think he won the best, you know, player award. So this is one of the best strikers we have. How Nigeria can tap these talents to improve our rating in FIFA. We are now number 40. You know, we are going down.
A country that used to be number 5
yeah,
in the
number
world.
5. So we have a lot of great potentials, and there's so many of them there. So I hope we can tap into his potential to use it to develop our own slide.
The problem is it does not, in the Eagles, we don't have the creative players to feed him. To
complement him.
So he's wasting away in the Super Eagles.
Just imagine a team with Mbappe and Osimhen. Mbappe should do the leg run, and Osimhen should just do the finishing.
If a Super Eagles have a creative player like Bruno Fernandes or De Bruyne of Man City, these are the best chance creators in the game. If we have such players in the national team, even if it's one, Osimhen will score tons of goals. But the way he's always wasting away in our games. Honestly. He won't get service. He will be struggling. Nobody will pass to him because we don't have very good midfielders unlike what we had in the past.
People that can.
Yes, people who can create chances. You know, at the slight of people like Friday Echo. You know, Friday Echo can locate a pin on the field with a pass. Long range passing, and he was telling he caused the fight between Keshi and Yekini, because Yekini kept saying, "Give me Friday Echo, give me Friday Echo," and they gave him Friday Echo in the third place match of Senegal '92. He sent that long range pass. Yekini controlled it and slammed it, and he said, "Can you see now?" Because West Ham will not play Friday Echo. He felt it was too slow. You know, so in football, the midfielders are very important. You can have a talented striker. Honestly. If he doesn't get service, it's useless to the team. It pains me that the national team of Nigeria has somebody this talented, very athletic. Everything.
We're not maximizing his potentials.
Yes, but it's just wasting away.
I want to thank you, Wale Adewi. Thank you for this contribution, journalist on Sunday, and our midfield maestro, own libero, distributor, JJ Okocha, no matter.
How many roles?
Babajide Kolade Otitoji. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of Journalist Hangout by 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this edition tonight by 11:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozuba. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Coming up in the month of May, the first is International Workers' Day, the third is World Press Freedom Day. On the 5th is the 13th anniversary of President Yar'Adua's demise in 2010, while from 12th to 16th of May are days dedicated as United Nations Global Road Safety Week. The 16th of May is International Day of the Boy Child. World Hypertension Day is on the 17th, and on the 27th is Children's Day. 29th of May is Nigeria's Inauguration Day, the commencement of a new 4-year tenure of another administration. On the 31st is World No Tobacco Day. Brace yourself and tune in to TVC News for special reports and analysis on these days.
ẹni tí ò dé kò yìn ẹkù kan.
Lagos is the most visited state in Africa as the 5th largest economy on the continent. Covering the state and its government is no mean feat, it's a busy beat. We go beyond the curtain of tapes to traveling far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos state government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Information is power. Information is security. Information